Page 84, Canon in D, otherwise known as the Pachelbel Canon. It's a nice arrangement. This is a good example of like a theme and variation where this is just something, theme is just a chord progression, and then we get various things going on this chord progression. This is really interesting. Starts out simple, but watch out because it doesn't stay that way. We have D major or B minor. If you look at it and study it, you'll find it's in D major. I'm too lazy to turn the page and look, but it is. So at the beginning, the right hand, it doesn't come into the second line, and it's just follow this fingering. The first line isn't too bad, and you just cross over for one note. And then the second line, you get two notes. Follow their fingering here. Here you got to cross over. Use the thumb as the pivot, and you're using it to come across here. So you can't connect that. Do the best you can. And then here. And then here at the top of page 85, hold the half notes down and you just add the quarter note to them. And you're here. Do the best you can with the fingers. Try and get the notes down at the same time. What we want to do is make sure we hold the half note down the full 2 counts as much as we can. We're adding that note to it. So for one beat, 3 notes are down. Here and then here. That 3 notes. Here, I do a 5-2 and add the 3 to it. You can do a 1 here. Just make sure the end of the line that all 3 notes are down. And then we get here. Remember to hold the half note down. Like so. I don't know that I have to play it all for you. You can figure it out. Go down to the last line on the page. Now it's... You get the idea. I'm saying this is just a variations, a theme and variations on a chord progression. The chord progression gives them to you there in the first line, that in the bass. I mean, these are the different chords, and then all this other stuff is just on those chords. So at the bottom of the page 85, we're finally in the here's. Just make sure you hold the half note down. There in the last bit, they want you to do that. There are the last 2 notes, last 2 beats on the page. Here, they're saying 2-1. I do a 3-1. Then on page 86, it gets a little trickier. Here, hold that F sharp down. And follow their fingering. It's good. Then we get, and that do that for a while. As go down to the last line, you just chords. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. Make sure you hold those half notes down there at the end of page 86. Here. Hold those down, and then page 87 they go nuts. It says slower. Not everybody does that. A lot of people, you just keep going the same speed. But here, watch the fingering. Follow the quarter notes on the left hand. Here, and then here. You're doing that? Well, then you got the one and. 1 and 2. You get that, and then you just add this other stuff. So, 1 and 2 and 3. If I go to the speed I was going before, it'd be a lot fun. We don't want a lot of speed here. Just keep it, it's got to be even and controlled and smooth and all that junk. And then second line, second measure, they say slower still. Follow their fingering. I prefer on that to do a 5. So it's you're starting 5. This is the second line, second measure here. It's here, and then here, and then I do a 5 because this sets me up. I can do this fingering. It's a sequence going down, and if I use 5-3 for the last 2 eighth notes, it puts me in position for the next. So again, very slowly. 5-3, that's fine, and then here you're starting with 4, but end those eighth notes with 5-3. That way you can do the next one with 4. 5-3 and then 4, 5. Now here, you go in here, the first measure is fine, finger it the way. But this measure is a little tricky. I do a 2 here, and then you need their fingering for the last bit. It's got to be here. Here, for that last bit works out fine. So you can't connect it totally, but you come close. And then my stoso is majestic, because hold the A down, it's a half note. And that trill at the end is fine. They've written the trill out for you, that's nice of them. Now we go back and we add the left hand. Well, the left hand isn't quite so bad. The right hand's the one that you got to work on. Pages 84 and 85, you just got these half notes. The part about this is it gets boring after a while, because this is all you're doing over and over and over. For the whole 2 pages, this is what you're doing. Just follow that fingering and connect them. Play them all legato. Regardless of what the right hand's doing, you just keep this constant bass going. On page 86, it varies a little bit. 3rd line down, you get broken octaves. Remember, broken chord is any chord that's not block. Well, here it's octaves, but they're broken, that is, one at a time. Just go ahead and lift up between each one, but keep the silence between them as small as possible. Play them as legato as you can, but still lift up. You do that for a while until you get to the bottom of page 87 and the last couple measures. And then here. Not bad for the left hand, huh? Try putting the hands together. Now on page 84, when you put the hands together, it shouldn't be too bad. The first line, you're by yourself, left hand. The second line, you're adding the right hand to it. Just make sure you have this fingering down. And if you can get this fingering in the left hand sort of automatic, so you don't have to think about it too much, it'll help you focus more on the right hand. So in the last line, you're just 2 notes. It just gets more and more and more and more. You don't have to go that fast. Take it your speed and keep it really, really slow. What is important is that it be smooth and even. No hesitations anywhere. You get over to page 86, it gets a little worse. And then second line. And then you go down to the bottom, last line on page 86. And then the good part. Careful here, go slow. Then the still slower. note down. Then the last two measures, look out. See, they've added another note in the left hand. You got three there now. Then you can go back and add the dynamics. As far as articulation goes, it's all pretty much legato. Starting out very, very, very soft here. You'll have to decide what that is, but whatever it is, that's what it is for the piece, for this time. Might be a different thing some other time, but for right now, that's what it is. Still soft, very soft, very soft. Not just soft, very soft. And you keep that going until you, second line on page 85, you come up just a little bit to soft. And you just keep it down. It's still soft. You get over to page 86, you come up a little bit more to moderately soft. That way, and then the third line down you go up some more to moderately loud. Not loud yet, just sort of loud. And then at the bottom of page 86, now you're up to loud. You see the accents and the accent. I don't know that you need accents and loud both on a piano. I mean, just play it loud. Then you get up, you're going to stay loud, and over on page 87, third line down, and when you get to the maestoso, now you're very loud. And this is like the climax here. But it's the right hand really we want to hear, so keep the left hand down to maybe a loud. So don't get too carried away with it. As far as the tempo goes, you have to keep, and this is the hard part, because you have to keep the same tempo until you get over to page 87 where it says slower. And right here, you're going to have a tendency to want to speed this up, because who wants to play this slow? The problem is it's too fast for when you start getting into all the eighth notes going on. So what I suggest you do, and what we typically do, is we divide the count up in our head to keep it slow. So rather than going 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, I will actually count eighth notes, because that's what I'm after. 1, and how fast do I want the eighth notes? 2, 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and that's the thought, the mental counting I'm going to do at the beginning. 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1. That'll keep me slow. Then I won't be speeding it up, and I'll keep that counting going until I get to the eighth notes. So second line is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and that way, and when I get to 85 second line, it's 1 and. Now I don't have to count it so much in my head like that because I'm playing the eighth notes. I can feel the count here. Then when I get over to page 87, I'm going to slow it down a little bit because of the 16th notes. 1. This is still slower, just see, I'm gradually going into the maestoso. So I'm going from this, gradually slowing it down and getting louder and louder until finally the maestoso. 1 and 2 and 3. And then there's a molto allargando, I still can't say that word. Allargando means spread it out a whole lot. Molto means a bunch, and the A word means spread it out. So just sort of like that. You interpret it that way. Then on top of that, we add the pedal to smooth it out and add the overtones. Because this thing, if you had noticed, is a constant crescendo from the beginning to the very end. It just gradually gets louder and louder and louder. Of course, we do it in stages, but that's really, it's just a crescendo to the end of it. The pedaling we're going to use is just a legato pedal. It's a lag pedal. You push the notes down first and then the pedal follows after. So I'll push the note down first and then the pedal. And then to play the next note and then to change the pedal. Get the idea? It's that kind of pedaling all the way through it. Now when you get over to page 86, the end of the second line, you're here. They're not showing it that way, but I would continue the legato pedal. I wouldn't split this pedaling it up at all. So I just keep the same style all the way through. They have a ped simile there in the fourth line down. That means keep pedaling this in a similar style you've been doing it. And that's really a... down a little bit because now you're going to slower. That's a little too blurry for you, then you're going to have to change pedal with every beat. Here, again, maybe every beat. And here, definitely every beat. That trill at the end there, you can pedal all the way through that. Like so. And then at the end, the pedal and the hands come up at the same time. When I do this with a play with me, I'll just double the value of that because of the fermata. I'll hold it 8 counts. I'd like to do a play with me. You know what I'm talking about. I'm going to go really slow through the whole thing. I'm going to do pages 84 and 85, then I'm going to stop and turn the page and then count in again and do pages 86 and 87. But I'm going to take the whole thing at one speed. If you're playing it for people who don't have it memorized, you have to be able to make this page turn without messing up the beat. The beat's got to keep going. And because both hands are so busy, that means you're going to have to leave out notes. You can't leave out any notes in the right hand, so you're just going to have to leave out notes in the left hand so you can use it to turn the page. And as far as how many notes you leave out is up to you, because how long does it take you to turn a page? You'll have to practice the page turn. So figure out where, somewhere in the bottom, maybe just play the first note in the left hand on that measure, and then immediately turn the page while the right hand finishes the measure or something. Is my suggestion. I'm going to give us 4 counts, and this is going to go really, really super slow at the beginning. Be patient. Enjoy the ride because the fun stuff's coming. You can leave your right hand on your lap for a bit because the first line is only left hand if you want. Just make sure the right hand is where it needs to go before you get there. 1, 2, 3, and go. And 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, 4, and 1, and 4, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 2 and 4 and. Turn the page. 1, 2, ready and go and. Hold 2, 3, 4, off.